Hello, hello, hello. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I was taking a few notes before we get started. I want to cover the child tax credits for you today. And I'm running short of time. I'm a little late. Tuesdays is hectic for me, and this Tuesday happened to be very hectic. So come on in, come on in, come on in. I won't wait like I normally do. I'm just jump on in. Okay. So I'm jumping right on in. So I am Tracy L. Tate. I am the CEO of TLJ Professional Services, where we are about all things financial. And I am excited to tell you that I bring you over 35 years experience in bookkeeping, accounting, and taxes. I am CTEC and IRS certified, and I am also, or have also, a master's in business, a master's in accounting, and a master's in public administration. So today the topic is going to be about the child tax credit updates. So come on in, come on in, come on in. And I'm going to jump right in because I am short of time. I have another engagement to get to, but I want to come on and give you this short tidbits of information. So last week, Tax Tip Tuesday, I mentioned that the IRS will be opening up e-filing on Monday. Hello, Miss Christelle. Thank you for joining me again, Miss Lady. So they're starting e-filing or accepting e-files on January 24th, which is Monday. So get your tax documents ready. Platforms like Gusto, QuickBooks, they'll be sending their stuff out by the end of the week. They will be mailing information out. And for programs like Gusto, they will actually they already have them online for you. So if you created your profile online, or that's how you get like W-2s from your employer and stuff like that, you already have them. So go ahead and pull your tax documents. You may have to go online to like your mortgage company and things like that to get those particular documents. You can go on your bank and get your interest statements and things. But go ahead and schedule with your tax preparer if nothing else. We do accept clients all year long. So I'm going to put in the chat as I normally do. Our website is tljprofessionalservices.com. I think I created a bit.ly too. Tax consult. Oh, that's what it is. bit.ly.tlj tax consult. So that's what I'm going to put in the chat. bit.ly/TLJ tax consult. Okay. Book your free 30-minute consultation. Okay, so today I am going over the child tax credit. So prior years, and these are temporary tax credit changes, okay? So in light of the pandemic and all of those crazy things, they are increasing the child tax credit from $2,000 per child to $3,600. Yay. You may also qualify for additional child tax credit. Now it's $3,600 for children 0 to 5 years old. So if you have small children, your child tax credit is going to be $3,500 per child. And then if they're 6 to 17, it'll be $3,000. Now, one of the additional changes they have is that they're extending the age to 17 versus you had to be under 17. So the IRS and the tax codes include language like under or up to, where it doesn't include that year. It says under it, not 17 and under, but under 17. So be mindful of things like that. These are temporary changes, so they're expanding it to 17-year-olds. They're making the credit fully refundable. Okay. That's huge because normally the child tax credit, it was limited on refunded or reduce your taxable income. I can't remember which one, but in any case, one of the changes is that it is fully refundable, and then they have higher phase out limits for like if you're single, married, filing jointly. Well, it wouldn't be single, it's head of household, because if you have children, you should be head of household, or widow if your spouse died in the current year, or actually up to 2 years ago, and you have small children in the home, you get to claim married filing jointly on the first year, but head of household on the next years. If you do not have small children in the house, then you go to single after the year of death. But the new phase out limits, they're calling it like a bonus or whatever. But this is another thing that they're doing in the pandemic, the American Rescue Plan, is making these temporary changes so that they can help families keep the economy going. So the pandemic is still running amok, and they are trying to keep the economy going without shutting the world down again, or shutting the U.S. down again. So these are some of the things that they're trying to do. One thing that they did notice, of course, was that people start buying online, right? So as long as you got money in your pocket, you're going to spend. That's the way the U.S. see it, the way the IRS see it. So they are trying to continuously put money in your pocket. I told you last week, perhaps, I don't know if I covered that or not, but the stimulus. If you did not get the stimulus when Biden first got in office, it would be stimulus number 3. It too is a refundable credit on your taxes, like the other two was. Good evening, Nisi. How are you? Ready? Thank you for joining. So if you so last year or 2021 taxes, right? 2020 taxes for 2021 tax year. If you had not received the stimulus, you were in your tax return or refund. They're doing that again for this third stimulus. So if you don't know what you received and so forth, create an account on irs.gov and get my stimulus, or find your payments is what it is. Get my payment is what it's called, to check your stimulus. If you did not get all 3, you're able to claim the first 2 on the 2020 tax form and the third one on this tax year, 2021. Okay. So be mindful of that. And if you're not sure, if you had already filed your taxes, didn't know that you could go back and get the stimulus, you can modify your taxes and get them, or amend your taxes and get your stimulus refund. Because to my knowledge, they are not sending out other checks. And this was a refund, or the third stimulus came out way earlier in the year 2021. So if you have not received that, you can include that on this year's tax return. So the qualifications for child tax credit has to be your son, daughter, stepchild, foster child, brother, sister, or stepbrother, stepsister, or any descendant. So a relative, right? It used to was under age 17 at the end of the year. It's not that way. It's 17 and under. So if they turned 18 in 2021, don't qualify. As long as they were 17 and under at the end of the tax year, you get to have this or claim this child tax credit. You provide over half of their support. The child lived with you more than half the year. So there are exceptions that apply to that. Like if you are divorced and the divorce decree, you can actually claim partial or split the child tax credit now. They didn't used to allow that before, but you do have claim to that. I didn't get all the payments. They stopped in October. No, the only thing that I know that stopped in October was the pandemic unemployment. Now, if with the child tax credit, the advanced child tax credit, they were giving them out from July through December. So just know that those credits that they were giving out, they were in advance. And I did do a live on this last year. So the key word is advance. That was taken away from your child tax credit for the current year on your current tax return. However, if you did not get your child tax credit, advance child tax credit, guess what? You get to still get it in your tax return. Okay, because all that was them trying to stimulate the economy. And what they were doing was advancing some of your money that you would normally get in your refund. Okay, because that is a refundable credit. So if you didn't get them, you'll still get them in your tax refund. Okay. The child has to be claimed on your return, and that they do not file a joint return in the current year. So you can I don't, niece, I don't know what Talia's birthday is or when she turned 18. That could be why, but you will not miss them if you stop getting the advance. All it's going to do is put it in your refund when you file your taxes this year. Because again, the key word was advance. So the fact that you didn't get 2 of your advance payments just means that you'll get them in your regular refund. Does that make sense? So you have the option to say, no, I didn't want the advance. And you wouldn't have got none of them, right? They just start automatically issuing them. But you have the opportunity to say, no, I don't want them, because some people do want the higher refunds, right? You could do more with a lump sum of money than you can with these little $500 payments. But then for some, it was helping them get by, or $300 or whatever they were giving out in the advances, advanced tax credit, child tax credit. But you are not missing anything. It just means that if you did not, they did not continue to give you an advance from July through December, that you will claim them on your tax return and you'll just get a higher refund because you didn't get all of it in advance, in essence. That makes sense? And they have to be a U.S. citizen, a U.S. national, or U.S. Resident alien. So, God forbid your child is kidnapped, but you do get to still claim the child tax credit if your child is kidnapped, okay? So this live, I was doing it quick. I kind of sped through it, so let me go through. But in essence, the child tax credit, there's some temporary changes for this tax season, so for 2021 only, unless they extend it, okay? They're expanding the child tax credit to 17 and under. So as long as your child was 17 at the end, December 31st, 2021, okay, then you get to claim the child tax credit, okay? They're making the credit fully refundable based on your income, okay? They won't phase out. So normally the higher your income is, the less credits that you qualify for. And this is why I always say married filing jointly is better than married filing separately, or even had a household or single, because the phase-out limits are different. So some people think that, well, I don't want to file with him because they're going to mess up the money that I would get from my child. No, your phase-out, especially if you work, right? The phase out limits is higher. So where single or head of household is like 75,000, right? Phase out for a year. Married is 150. Why wouldn't you want to take advantage of both of those? You might qualify for the credit filing jointly versus not qualifying because your income is too high as head of household or single. Make sense? They're increasing the limit from $2,000 per child to $3,600 if the child is 0 to 5, and from 6 to 17 is $3,000. So that's an extra $1,000 for a 6-year-old and up, an extra $1,600 if your child is 0 to 5. Okay, and then again, higher phase-out limits, multiple phase-out limits. So I am sorry I sped through this, and next Tax Tuesday won't be so fast. I will plan accordingly and have my calendar in line, so I'm not rushing through this stuff. But in my continuing education, you probably saw me flipping paper and stuff like that. This is part of my continuing education that I had to learn. So they gave out half of the advance, and we get the other half at tax time. Correct. You can see it that way. Yes. And it wasn't so much that it was half, because it depends on how many children you have, right? And how young your children are. So in some cases, what they were doing, and this is where people get caught up to, I mentioned this in my prior tax tip live before they came out with these temporary changes. When they first started giving out these advanced tax credits, I went live and said, keyword is advance, right? That means that you're getting it ahead of time. That doesn't mean, oh, it's free. No, it ain't free. You were getting it in advance of. So, Christelle, to your point, they gave you half or some of it. It's not quite half the way that they're calculating it now, but they gave you some of it during the year, and they're going to give you the rest of it in your tax return this year, right? When you file your tax return. Now, Okay, so 6, 7, and 16. If that's their age now, and that was their same age at the end or on 12/31/2021, you'll get 3,600 for the 4-year-old, and you'll get for the 7 and 16-year-old, you'll get 3,000 minus, right, what they already advanced you. So I do know that some people were getting advances because they were basing it on what they think your information was based on prior year filings. So if you file with children on your tax return, let's say in tax year 2020, because that's what they were looking at, then they account for the child being a certain age on your tax return this year. So that's the same. They expected to see if your child was phasing out, right? So where you 17-year-olds, because they knew they were adding 17-year-olds, but people did not, and that was something I had relied on. Like, keep in mind, they advanced based on the prior year. I don't know if they kept in mind that your child turned in another age year or not. And I still can't say whether they kept that. I still can't say whether or not they kept that in mind with this when they were handing out the advances. Hopefully it's getting better. I guess that's my cue to my time is up. I have my Wi-Fi on too because my internet has been janky. Our weather is crazy. It's freezing everything around here. But hopefully you got the gist of it and wasn't breaking up. My internet was not breaking up during the meat of this live. So to wrap it up, if you got the advanced tax credit, child tax credit, that was just an advance against what you normally would get on your return. So if you're expecting a large refund, or that's what you're used to having, a large refund, just keep in mind that you got some of the money already. So they will be sending a letter letting you know how much you got, and they will be sending the letter for the stimulus as well. Okay. Create your account online. Okay. And then you can get your document yourself. You don't have to sit around and wait for it to come in the mail, right? Or an email. You can get it offline yourself. Go to your portal. Okay. So create you an account on irs.gov, and then you can get any documents that you need to have, including your transcripts if you're waiting on W-2s and so forth. Now, keep in mind, what about the 8,000? So that's the additional child. So in all, you can get up to $8,000. Okay. I will make sure that I cover that 8,000 amount on my next tax tips Tuesday, because that was something I recall learning about in my continuing education. But there is additional child tax credit. So between this 3,600 and additional child tax credit, you'll get the 8,000. But I'll cover that in detail, Ms. Christel. So join me next Tuesday. Again, this is Tracy L. Tate. I am the CEO of TLJ Professional Services, where we are about all things financial. And no problem. Hey, Nish, I will cover the 8,000 because I did say that last week. I know I saw it in my education, so I need to pull it out my notes and documents and tell you exactly how you're going to get that $8,000 credit. Okay? I will cover that in detail. But this has been my version of Tax Tip Tuesday. Join me every Tuesday at 5:30. I'm trying to go past 6 normally, but today I got to get up out of here. So thank you again for joining me. Like, share, comment, and please tell a friend. Join me on Tuesdays at 5:30. Look forward to seeing you next week. Be blessed.